What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Locks DFS College Football Breakdown. I am Christian Hardy, at ByHardy on Twitter, ByHardy on DraftKings as well. We are going to be going over my favorite college football plays for Week 7. So I spend a lot of time every week doing college football, putting a lot of work into the breakdown that goes up on locksdfs.com, as well as the lock sheet, kind of deciding on which plays I'm gonna be focusing my attention on in my tournaments as well, and GPPs, which I think is really important in college football to do that. And I realized I haven't put out any free content all year on this stuff. And, I tweet about college football all the time, but just haven't done anything for free. So I thought I'd give away some plays this week. Probably if this video does well, if I get some good comments, that's what I'll say right now. If you guys like this video, hit the like button, but also just comment and let me know. Let me know that you want to see more, and I'll put these out. Let me know if you enjoy it when I get into it. I did a few of them last year, but going to get back into it now. So, before I get into it, this video is obviously sponsored by locksdfs.com. That is my website. That is where my breakdown, breaking down every single every cash game play, GBP play on the DraftKings main slate every single week, going through team totals. I also usually give a breakdown for the 3 to 4 game slates that can lead up to the week. And obviously that's also going to get you access to chat and all that stuff. So you can try us out for the 3-day trial pass, but you can do, the all sports pass, which gives you NFL, NBA, all that good stuff if you like our other videos. But with that said, let's go ahead and get into the slate, which starts at quarterback. There's a pretty obvious chalk play. Everyone's going to play him. I didn't want to make him my cover boy on my article this week. And so I didn't. I made it someone else. But he should be the cover boy because everyone should be playing him. Jalen Hurts at $9,000 on DraftKings. He's just a lock button in cash games. Obviously, there's some validity to fading him in GPPs, but he's got a 43.25 team total in this game against Texas. These games tend to be pretty high scoring between these two teams, especially with Lincoln Riley, and especially with Oklahoma's defense. Although they are improved this year, still Sam Ehlinger should be able to carve up this defense pretty well. Hurts, he's looked very improved as a passer this year from what we've seen in the past, averaging over 300 passing yards a game. He's averaging almost 100 rushing yards a game. He's averaging over 4 touchdowns per game. Many of those are coming on the ground, so are worth 6 points. Obviously, the run pass option is a perfect system for him, and it allows him to not only use his legs but to air it out. So he's looked really good in this Lincoln Riley system. Oklahoma offensive line should dominate this kind of average Texas defense. And Sam Ehlinger should pretty much keep Hurts going, where we need someone on the other side that's going to be able to compete. You like these small favorite quarterbacks because they're going to have to keep producing points throughout 4 quarters. Although this isn't a small favorite, they are only 11-point favorites. And like I said, clearly the highest total in the week. I don't think I need to talk about him much longer. He is pretty much just a stone lock. Obviously, I don't want to get too far into QB2. You can read my article for that, but I will mention guys that for me I'm thinking about in cash right now, and this is really an important decision for me, and I think about it a lot during the week because I think QB2 is important. I think Trevor Lawrence is really cheap at 7.2K. However, I do think that Lawrence is only cheap if you think Florida State can put up some semblance of points. I think everyone is pretty sold on Clemson dominating this game. They have the highest team total on this slate. I believe the line is like 20. Let me pull it up. It is 27. The line is 27 points. So, I mean, we kind of need Florida State to put up points so that Trevor Lawrence can reach a ceiling. That said, he has a tiny bit of rushing upside. Clemson is, I know it's a narrative, and we're going to get to it with the running back and Travis Etienne as well. But they are coming off a bye. They dropped to number 2 in the rankings, barely got by UNC. There's a lot of narrative about them not being as good, especially on offense so far this year. I think they're going to put an end to that this week against Florida State. Florida State is definitely a matchup where they can do that. They don't create a lot of pressure. Pretty middling in terms of that. I just think that this is a smash spot. So Lawrence is definitely interesting. I'll be definitely thinking about him in terms of QB2. Jet Duffy has a lot of rushing upside, but he's got a tough matchup in Baylor. Jaden Daniels adds some rushing upside, but there is all the way down here. The cheapest option has a very, very nice matchup, and that is Ty Pigrom. It is not my favorite play. Like, we've seen Ty Pigrom before play for Maryland, and it is not pretty. But this Purdue matchup is just about as good as it can get. Purdue has given up over 30 points in each of their last 3 games. Pigrom is going to run that run pass option. He's going to run some zone reads. So I'm interested in Pagrom because of that rushing floor and because Purdue's defense overall is just so bad. One concern with Pagrom is that they could rush the ball a lot if they get to a big lead in this game. Vegas is not expecting them to get to a big lead in this game, so that is why I like Pagrom. Like I said, looking for these quarterbacks in these pretty close games. Okay. I talked more about quarterback than I honestly was expecting to. So I gave you guys a little bit extra free content there. Okay, let's get into some running back. One of some of my favorite running back plays. First one is going to be Benjamin, a guy who I consistently find myself landing on when I'm making my builds. I think that this game right here was like a Thursday or Friday slate 2 weeks ago. And people played McFarland over him, which was really shocking to me because I think is just one of the best running backs in the league, in college football. And he has a receiving role, and they're going to give it to him pretty much every time when they get inside the 10 because they can trust him to do that. However, I like him in this game as well. I mean, he's probably my favorite running back on the slate. Of course, Jonathan Taylor has a tough matchup here, which makes the 8.8 not even really playable for me. There's not a lot of value if you're playing Hurts to be able to get to him. Of course, he's a good play, but I'm just not going to be able to fit it. So I'm looking more to these 7K guys, which there are a lot of good plays in here. I talk about all of them in the breakdown and how I feel about them. So I believe, honestly, out of these guys, besides maybe Etienne, I think he's the most talented, besides maybe Swift, too. Swift is a very talented running back. Here's my thing with Benjamin is I think he has the highest touch ceiling out of these guys. We've seen him, his touch totals this year, 25, 28, 20, 31, and then he had a 13 rush game or touch game against Michigan State, which, like I said, with Jonathan Taylor is the toughest rushing matchup in all of college football. I think Arizona State's just going to find a way to get him the ball. They do that all the time when they're inside the 10. Like I said, they bring him in. Even if they're at that yard line on first down, they're going to be running it. I think that as well, they're going to want to keep their defense off the field against this powerful Washington State offense. And I think they're going to have to rely on Benjamin to do that, moving the chains against this terrible, terrible Washington State defense, which, by the way, is by far the worst run defense in any Power 5 conference. That pretty much sums it up for Eno. I just think he is mismatched. I think he's so talented and he's going to dominate this defense. The only way this doesn't work out, and I think it could still work out if Arizona even keeps it within 2 possessions because Arizona State's going to want to keep the ball in Eno's belly. So, okay, let's talk about the cover boy, which I didn't want to talk about too much because he is the cover boy of my article on locksdfs.com. That is Travis Etienne. He is the Clemson running back. We've seen him priced down for now 2 weeks. He was priced down before the bye. Like I said, I just think Clemson's going to come out in this game and smash. I don't know how much it's going to involve Etienne. Of course, we've seen his touch ceiling is 16 this year. Of course, he also got 4 catches in that game, which is significant. But we've seen his touch ceiling at 20 this year. Obviously, there were several games last year where he went over 100 with 2 touchdowns. He's done that once this year. He met his floor. We could definitely see a similar game this week. I'm not saying he's going to go 12 for 205. That is not easy to do. I am mostly saying that we have not seen an Etienne ceiling game in a long time. This is a game where Clemson should smash. This is a game where Travis Etienne should probably get between 13 to 15 carries, I think. Certainly 13 to 15 touches, and he can do a lot with that. The issue with Etienne is, of course, like I said, the volume. If he's not going to break one off, if he's not going to score a touchdown, you're in big trouble. Like, you're not going to get there any other way. So there's definitely validity to fading him. But I'm just going to plant my flag here. He's 7.1K again. I played him in that 7.2K game. I want him here. So that's just kind of the take I'm going to be writing. Like I said, if you want analysis on the other guys, they are in the article. And I think all of them are, most of them are pretty good plays. Okay, going to be skipping over the expensive wide receivers to go down to some guys I really like. And not to say these guys aren't in play. It just depends on your build. There are some cheap running backs I didn't mention that can get you some of those expensive wide receivers if you would like. But let's start at 5.2K, Colin Johnson. He is returning from a hamstring injury for Texas. He is the leading returning receiver for the Longhorns. He just pretty much grades out as my clear top point per dollar wide receiver on the slate. Just based on what we've seen his connection with Ellinger in the past, based on his 8 targets in the first game, based on pure talent. This is a guy who, if assuming he is healthy, they're coming off a bye. Not coming off a bye. He didn't play last week because I think he wanted to get ready for this big game that will, who's the alpha in the Big 12 basically. Johnson at 5.2K, he averaged 8.6 targets last year. That was with Lil Jordan Humphrey on the team. He's not on the team anymore. Obviously, Duvernay has started to emerge, and he is very expensive. He is more of a GPP option at this price right next to Judy because Judy's going to be way, way more owned than Duvernay. So will CD Lamb, I believe. I think the ownership will go Lamb, Judy, Duvernay out of those top 3 guys. But yeah, like I just think that at that price, you're getting a really high floor in a game environment that Oklahoma, because they're going to get up on you, they're going to pretty much force you to throw the ball. Jalen Hurts is going to score touchdowns on you, and you're going to have to throw the ball. So Johnson's going to be a big part of that, and he's too cheap because he's been hurt for 3 weeks. Okay. There's another injury situation here in Purdue where Rondale Moore does not look like he's going to be able to return this week. Obviously, one of the most talented wide receivers in college football. We're going to be seeing him in the NFL if he can stay healthy. I'm hoping for that for sure. But right now, we have 2 guys in David Bell and Jackson Anthrop who are way, way too cheap. So one reason why I don't think they are both smash plays, and maybe one of them could disappoint, is just because I'm just going to click Purdue here. Is just because we have quarterback Elijah Sindelar out. We have Jack Plummer in, the redshirt freshman with not a ton of experience. He also is facing a Maryland defensive line that is pretty good. They're going to cause pressure, and that's going to make it a little bit tough on the redshirt freshman. But I still think that Maryland's defense should, he should be able to find some space against Maryland's defense. And I think that Bell and Anthrop are just way too cheap. Bell has 22 targets over the last 2 games. Anthrop has 18 targets over the last 2 games. Both of those mostly come without Rondale Moore, who has a hamstring injury. Both these guys are solid cash game plays. I really like Anthrop because of his short target depth. Of course, he has 4 less targets over the last 2 weeks, but he also has 3 rushes in that time, which is a little bit interesting. But both are good plays. I'm not sold on playing both in cash, even if you're trying to look for cheap receivers. I'm hoping that there's going to be some other guys that might pop up. But those are my 2 clear favorite cheap receivers on the slate. So Colin Johnson plus a Purdue guy are my clear favorite cheap wide receivers on the slate. So hopefully that gave you guys a good amount of plays. Like I said at the beginning of the video, if you liked watching this, if you enjoyed the college football breakdown, if you like college football DFS, please comment, let me know, I would appreciate it, and hit the like button and hit that subscribe button. We also do a lot of other content, NFL content. We'll be doing NBA daily videos here soon. And then check us out, locksdfs.com. If you need college football advice, read the breakdown, get in the Slack chat, get the lock sheet with the player grades, the tiers on Saturday morning, Friday night, whenever I tend to post them somewhere in there. So yeah. There's also going to be a Friday breakdown up on locksdfs.com. If you're watching this on Friday, watching this in time, there will be a breakdown up. So, okay, cool. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys possibly next week, for sure tomorrow on my NFL video. See you guys then. Peace.